time, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome to KS Recruiting Talk Space. Keith Scott, founder of KS Recruiting Talk, host for tonight's space, special teams coordinator, DB's coach at Central Arkansas. How did KS Recruiting Talks come about? I started out sending out daily tweets about the recruiting process and motivational tips. God moved me into creating Twitter Space, which was a 2-year-old idea that was locked up in my phone. And I was just like anybody else that was looking to start something. I was really hesitant about it. I was kind of, started thinking about what people think and different things like that. And I just jumped out there, man. And 2 words that I want to talk to y'all about tonight with KS Recruiting Talk, and that's consistency, and growth. The word consistent and consistency comes from my tweets. I send out motivational recruiting tips every day, sometimes 2 times a day, just to let recruits, coaches, and parents get a gauge on who I am away from the grass and who I am as a coach. And the other word is growth. And the reason why I'm using the term growth because I started out doing Twitter Space back in last May 2022, and people wanted to hear more. They wanted me to do more. So what's my more? KS Recruiting Talks is now on 3 major platforms, 2 major platforms. That's YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It all started with a vision to motivate recruits, parents, and coaches. Now my YouTube is up to 500 subscribers in 8 short months. So very excited about that, man. It's growing really, really fast. But it wasn't about what everybody is seeing now. The viral tweets, the likes, the retweets. It wasn't about that, because if it was about that, I would have stopped a long time ago. I wanted to reach people. I wanted to reach recruits. I wanted to reach parents, and I wanted to reach high school coaches, and even some college coaches that don't have the recruiting process down pat. So also, it's a chance for me to promote my words on Twitter and to promote my voice on KS Recruiting Talks on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. What's my purpose? My purpose is to inspire, educate, and motivate recruits, parents, and high school coaches. This space also is for college coaches, man. If you're a college coach and you don't quite got the recruiting process down pat, you're kind of trying to learn the game and how to operate, this space is for you. So welcome. The rules for tonight's space. First off, this space is totally NCAA compliant. No high school coach or recruit can speak. They cannot send in questions to be read. Guest panel cannot promote a recruit or a high school. My goal is for KS Recruiting Talks to be considered the #1 free recruiting resource for recruits, parents, and high school coaches. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thank you, guest panel, guest coach. You can consider this as giving back, man. You can consider this just like community service, man. Donate 45 minutes to an hour of your time. You can count this forward, man. I'll be sharing my platform today with some of the best coaches in the profession. These coaches are cutting edge. They know what they're talking about. I'm extremely excited to hear what they have to say. I sent out a text, and everybody on this guest panel tonight agreed to be on this panel. So I appreciate you guys for donating that hour of your time. I'll let our guest panel introduce themselves at this time.
I started off. I'm Creature Mill. I help Coach Scott out. I co-host the recruiting talk with him on the Corners coach at Central Arkansas. Thank you for having me.
Great up-and-coming young coach, man. Does a great job. Very cutting edge in what he do. Appreciate it, man.
I'll go ahead. This is Coach Whitney. I'm at Western Carolina, assistant defensive backs, defensive quality control. Appreciate you letting me come in and share some of my time, some of my tips and advice.
Absolutely. Coach Whitney was with us at Central Arkansas last year as DB assistant. Appreciate you being on.
Coach, I'll jump in. Kyle Williams, defensive coordinator, secondary coach over here at Texas A&M University Commerce. Appreciate you having me on, Coach, and look forward to it.
Thank you, Coach Williams. Appreciate you jumping on, man. Great, bright defensive mind, man. Childhood friend. Appreciate it.
I'll go. I'm Dwayne Taylor. I'm the cornerbacks coach, and I'm the newly appointed recruiting coordinator at Norfolk State University. Thank you for having me, Coach.
Congratulations, big dog, man. That's big time, man. I'm happy for you, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'll jump in. I'm Coach Lovings. I'm the associate head coach, running back coach at Arkansas State. I'm very humbled by this opportunity, and thank Coach Scott. I've known him for 4 or 5 years, and can't be a better guy out there to talk about recruiting. So can't wait.
Awesome, man. I tell you, me and Coach Lovins crossed paths in 2019 when we was Ohio Valley Conference champs and went to the semifinals of the FCS playoffs. Coach Lovins shot me a text last year in 2022 when I started these spaces, and he said, Coach Scott, I like what you're doing. How can I help you better promote what you're doing? And I reached out to him and I said, the best way you can do that is by being on this space. And he said yes within 3 seconds. So, Coach, I appreciate you jumping on, man.
Hey, Gunnar Boykin, offensive line coach, recruiting coordinator at University of Central Arkansas. Excited to hear what everybody has to say.
Work with Gunnar every day, man. Great offensive line coach, one of the better ones in the business. So appreciate you, guest panel, man, jumping on and get ready to talk, man. I think this is going to be a great night. I think we're going to be able to inspire, educate, and motivate recruits, parents, and coaches tonight. So that's our goal. So topic for tonight, PWO opportunity over scholarship. Before we get to our topic, I want to cover some things about PWO you might not know. What does PWO mean? PWO means preferred walk-on. What is a preferred walk-on? A player that was recruited by staff to be on the team, but would not be given any financial assistance. On reporting day, he will have a roster spot. He'll have a locker in that locker room. The term walk-on, what does that mean? He was not recruited by the staff and will not have a roster spot. So you hear two terms. You hear the term PWO and you hear the term walk-on. The difference between the two, a PWO will have a roster spot, and the term walk-on, he will not have a roster spot. So there's a direct difference between the two. Just want to cover some real simple basics right there. The next thing is I want to talk about, find out who handles the walk-on process for that staff. At bigger schools, it's usually the director of recruiting that handles the walk-on process. Also, you can work through assistant coaches, but it really would be beneficial to find out who handles the walk-on process first and start with them, because they'll usually filter you into those position coaches next. For smaller staffs, it's the assistant coach that is one of the assistant coaches that handles the walk-on process for that staff. So I think that's a good spot to start to when you start thinking about the walk-on process, who handles that process for that staff. We got 5 topics to help inspire, educate, and motivate recruits, parents, and coaches tonight. Topic number 1, accepting a scholarship at a lower division versus taking a PWO at a higher division. Thoughts on pros and cons? I would get us started with this one. Personally, I think a recruit should take the scholarship over having to pay for school and be a walk-on. Income is the word that I'm going to focus on right here because I think income is a game changer when you start to think about paying for school. If you come from a family with limited money, this factor should lead you even more to take the scholarship over PWO. If you come from a family with the income to support tuition for the next 5 years, a PWO opportunity is more appealing to you versus a scholarship because you have this financial support. Now, staying with the same thing, the financial support side, I would look hard still at a scholarship. Why would I look hard still at a scholarship when I have the financial support? My parents can't help me pay for school. Why would I look? Why wouldn't I take a PWO versus a scholarship? I think the reason why you want to still stick with the scholarship part is because the money your parents are trying to spend that's putting you through school, they can put that money elsewhere, like getting you a car. They can put that money towards some type of other fund to help support you versus spending that money to put you through school. So that's my take on that. I would now pass it on to Coach Boykin.
Hey, Coach, thanks. I come from a little bit different perspective just because I have kind of lived it. I was in junior college. I took the preferred walk-on. at a Power 5 school, and ultimately didn't work out for me the way that I thought, and I ended up going back to junior college. But I mean, there's times in life where you got to take a risk to get where you want to go, and I've not been afraid to do that. I did it as a player then. I've done it as a coach. That's how I ended up here at Central Arkansas. As I left a paid job, take an unpaid job here, and I'm not afraid to take that risk, and sometimes it's worth it. But going back to what Coach Scott said, I mean, the money's a big part of it. If you've got a staff that believes in you enough, and all those things to be able to, put money on you and help pay for your school. I'm still paying for, that time that I spent as a walk-on. So, if the money's there, take the money. But don't be afraid to take a risk and go to work. But it's going to be a lot of work, So, the big thing is, is it worth it? What are you going to get out of it?
Thank you, Coach Boykin.
Yeah, I'll jump in here next. I just, Coach Loving's here again. I would just, if income is big, and that should be on probably everybody's mind because, dollars make the world go around. But at the same time, NFL rosters, if you're trying to go lower level, then what is lower level? Like, even though I'm Arkansas State, I'm still lower level to Arkansas, So, what is lower level? But then NFL rosters are filled with every, Division III, NAIA, you can still get to where you want to go from there. And then, when I'm thinking about a lower level, if you want to, thinking about it as well is, man, we're all a farm league for somebody right now. I mean, if you're at Arkansas State, you can be all conference, and University of Arkansas will pick you up in the transfer portal, probably if you're all conference. If you're Division II at Lenore-Ryan and you're all American, you can probably get to, where you want to go to, as far. And I know a lot of people, head coaches probably don't like that right now, but man, we're being used as kind of like a farm system, I guess, for the group of five and for the top dogs, so to speak. There's some things to think about. And then, if you're trying to go higher division, if that's your dream, we only get to live this life one time. And so if that's your dream to run out of a, Division I tunnel or whatever your dream school is, man, live it, because no one can tell you that, you didn't do it or you did do it. And if that's a dream of yours, then go do it. And, there's a little bit of perks with it. I mean, whether that be, training table or lunch provided or maybe gear and all that good stuff. So, I mean, there's perks for both sides, but I'm kind of with Coach Scott. I kind of favor, taking the scholarship over the PWO opportunity.
And then I just jump right in. Coach Love, you just hit the hammer on the nail right there. I mean, like, you want to go where you'll be seen. I get that, but it's hard to get seen when you're not playing. And there's ballers at every level. NFL got guys, NAIA, D3, D2, and up. So you see it each year, guys just being drafted at those levels. And this can vary, like, with your relationship with the coaches at both schools that's offering you. But, I mean, we just see the transition in college football where great athletes and great students are just getting scholarship money taken away from them. Guys that could potentially go to a group of five school is now kind of being filtered down to the lower level schools. And then even the guys that would get the lower level schools now getting the PWO opportunity. So, I would say go where you want it and go take the income. That would kind of be my stand on it.
Thank you, man. That was great. I was truly inspired. I was educated, and I was motivated from that topic right there. I think that's one a lot of people want to hear. If you're on right now, you're getting good information. Make sure you let someone know. Like, comment, retweet. Let's let people know that we're getting this space started so we can get more people involved with this thing. We'll move on right into topic number 2. I think this is one a lot of people want to hear and want to know and want to hear the guest panel take on this. Has the transfer portal forced really good high school talent to take the PWO route? And I'll let Coach Cree start us off here.
Thank you, Coach. I would say not essentially, but in a way it kind of has. And this is just really speaking from my own personal experiences. I don't think the portal necessarily forces anybody to take the PWO route. I think more so than anything, the issue is guys really just playing the recruiting game, so to speak. So they aren't necessarily going through the process the correct way, I feel. Like for me, I would say you need to get your film evaluated, then gain either some type of interest or an early offer. At that point, you want to set up some type of junior day visit in the spring. Next step, you want to camp with that program during the summer to show mutual interest with them. Game day visit during the fall season. And then at some point, set up an official visit and get to campus and get to further know the staff and just the rest of the environment that you're getting yourself into. I think the timeline is somewhere along those lines. I think the issue and what's happening is guys are really just focusing on their bigger schools. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I get it. I'm just speaking from our perspective. We're an FCS program where they're holding out, waiting on that dream offer, which is kind of screwing them in the long run. Because when that's the case, the school typically is going to lose interest as well. They're going to move on to a student athlete that wants them, or they're just going to fill up at that position because you only have X amount of guys that you can take at each spot. So those spots going to tend to fill up fast. That's just the way things go. And then essentially you're dropped from that program's list unless someone falls off that they want. If someone falls off, it may give you a call and reach back out to you, but that's just kind of how it falls. Then at that point, you just got to understand that you were still shopping, you were still fishing around for that bigger offer. So that university, that program has to continue to shop too and do the same thing. Because at the end of the day, you have to protect yourself and go out and get those big time offers that you dream and have aspirations of. Since you were a child, we all understand it. But we also have to protect our program and do what's in our best interest, which leads to us most times having to move on and go and get another guy. And at the end of the day, that opportunity just falls off the table for you. Not necessarily because you weren't interested in that team or you didn't like them, but you waited around, those spots filled up, and that team had to move on. And that's just kind of how it is sometimes. So thank you, Coach. That's all I have.
Yeah, Coach, I want to jump in and kind of take it back a little bit, and let's talk about the logjam that has been created through college athletics. So I think it does. I think it does in some situations force you to look at the PWO route, but we need to understand why the logjam that has been created through college football. First, we had COVID. Okay, so when COVID hit, what happened? Everyone, the NCAA granted everyone an extra year of eligibility. What did that do? That created the first logjam, and then the second logjam that happened, was the transfer portal. So now you have COVID kids, which gave kids an extra year. A lot of them are still in school. And then on top of that, you add the transfer portal in, which allowed people to move exactly how they wanted to move and created free agency. And now you have an abundance of kids that are tremendously talented that get left behind in the wash. So I think we have to understand that part, and what did that do? Okay, so Creed just hit it on the head, okay? The schools have to protect themselves, and a lot of times, he just hit it on the head. Those guys are waiting for the right opportunity, and, you have to look at the opportunity that's presented to you, in my opinion. I think that's the best opportunity. You looked at the PWOs, we talked about that already, not creating that debt that you're going to create. Take the opportunity that's for you. What happened with that is now, Coach just said it, we could use it like a farm system now. Everybody's a farm system for somebody. Coach hit it directly on the head. And when you have that approach, it's still free agency, but it's those spots. Creed mentioned those spots fill up. We have guys on a list that's ready to take those spots. And I think we kind of go back to the COVID and the logjam, Coach, to kind of see why the resources are limited and the scholarships are limited. That's all I got on that one, Coach.
Inspire, educate, motivate. Appreciate that, Doug. Let's go, Coach Taylor.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on both the guys that just went. From what I see that it affects them on the back end. So, right now, kids that would usually get P5 committable offers, they're getting group of 5 offers. So guys that would get Power 5 offers are getting group of 5 offers. So group of 5 kids are getting FCS offers, and FCS kids are getting D2 offers. Where it affects them is year 2 and year 3. Usually you get a guy that you get a guy that walks on to a school. They're not trying to be a walk-on for 4 years, 5 years. They're trying to get a scholarship. And usually what happens is when you get guys that go on to graduate or you get guys that go on to leave, you know, the coaching staff will say, well, this guy's been doing a really good job. We're going to go ahead and give him a scholarship. But now with the transfer portal, what that does is I can go get a guy that has played at a Power 5 school or a Group of 5 school for the last 2 years, has playing experience, and I know that this kid can play. I can go to the transfer portal and get him. And like Coach Williams said, it's just open free agency. And for me, now with the transfer portal, man, everything, instead of giving a scholarship to a guy that's been busting his butt for the last 2 to 3 years, you're going to go find a guy in the portal. And I think that's kind of the tough part for guys that take those PWOs, because everybody that take that PWO, you have in your mind, you're like, I got this offer to, Central Arkansas, but, University of Arkansas is giving me this PWO opportunity. I seen this person and that person go to the league from there, and I know I can do it. But after year 2, when they replace you with a guy out of the portal, it kind of puts you in a situation where you're like, okay, maybe I need to rethink that. And I think that's where it really messes with the guys or affects the guys that are on PWOs. It doesn't affect them on the front end, in my opinion. I think it's the back end when they think that they're going to get a scholarship for being there 2 to 3 years and doing everything that the program asks. And really all the program has to do is go in the portal and get a guy, that's already seasoned, a guy that's already played, and a guy that's been on scholarship at another institution. So I think that's where it affects them.
Great job right there, Coach Taylor. Inspire, educate, motivate. Coach Lovins?
Yeah, so this is when I think about, and everybody's right, I think the time is the most critical aspect of it. Just there, even though there's 2 signing days now, everything is pushed up with time, whether it be transfer portal time, whether it be, getting high schoolers, signed. I think the time is of the essence. And if you're a high school kid out there, man, you need to really educate yourself on where you want to go and get to business. It's not time to pick the hats out of the 5 hats and pick it out. That's just my opinion. But to me, people got to be humble and just bet on themselves. I mean, when you really think about it, I don't think that, the transfer portal has really killed good high school talent. I mean, you have junior college, you have Power 5, you have Group of 5, you have FCS, you have Division II, you have NAIA, you have Division III. There's all kind of avenues to play football. So, if you're not humble enough, it's going to kill you where you think you should be going to Michigan State, you should be going to LSU, or you should be going to Central Ark, and, they haven't offered you, but Southern Arkansas has. So, to me, you got to be humble and better yourself. And how I kind of look at it is, to me, it's like the lottery. Why do people play the lottery? People play lottery because they can't attain the assets, by themselves. They need some sort of luck. But every day you go in the weight room, every day that you're running routes, every day that you're catching out the jugs, you're just betting on yourself. You are the lottery ticket. And so, to me, you got to really just bet on yourself. And so land where people are wanting you. I heard someone say, go where you're appreciated. And so I think that's big. And no, I think that there's still room for people to go to. They're ego driven and too entitled to, what places are recruiting them.
Thank you right there, Coach Lovins, man. Appreciate that. And I'll close this out right here. I have to agree with pretty much everyone that spoke on this topic. I think the transfer portal has affected high school recruiting. But what high school recruits got to understand is these colleges and universities have a certain amount of scholarships assigned to each recruiting class. I think Coach Cree started us out there, and they have a certain amount of spots that they got to get filled. Now, here's my take. I think the NCAA needs to increase scholarship numbers by 10 for all divisions that have scholarships. And here's the way I see it. I see FBS with their 85 scholarships going up to 95. I see FCS with their 63 scholarships going up to 73. I see D2 with their 36 scholarships going up to 46. So I see all those numbers bumping up to 10. Why do I feel like they should bump those numbers up to 10? Because now it gives the programs that believe that they still believe in high school recruiting, right? But they have a need, so they don't have to make a choice between a high school kid and a transfer portal kid, because that high school kid is going to lose that every time, because that portal kid is coming in with 4 years or 3 years of experience. So that university is going to take him over a high school kid. So this gives now the university a chance to still build a program. But I also think, and listen really good when I talk about this, I also think high school recruits need to go through the entire process. And what do I mean by the entire process? Junior days, prospect camps, game day visits, unofficial and official visits. And I see on Twitter a number of times recruits, you're tweeting out, the portal is hurting my recruitment. No, portal is not hurting your recruitment. It's the fact that you didn't go through the entire process with this university, and now you're trying to come back in on the back end and be a committable offer. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. You got to go through the whole entire process. And I think Coach Lovins hit on it. I think Coach Cree hit on it, and Coach Williams hit on it, and Coach Taylor. You can't be at these bigger schools taking these unofficial and official visits when these FCS schools are telling you that you need to be on their campus, and this FBS school has no intentions of offering you. So I think that's a misunderstanding that the portal is killing high school recruitment. Now, some of these kids are not going through the process, and you need to go through the process with these schools so that they can get to know you, and you got to get on these college campuses. So that concludes topic number 2, man. This has been a great night so far. I got a couple of reminders. If you want to catch tonight's episode right here, this space, you can catch it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, man. It'll be up in 24 hours. Again, if you're on right now, if you're a parent, recruit, a high school coach, or even a college coach, man, like, comment, retweet. Let's make sure we get more people involved with this thing. If you're a college coach on right now, you're listening, you want to be featured on KS Recruiting Talk, shoot me a DM, man. Let's get in contact with each other. So we'll move right on into topic number 3. What do schools look for in PWOs? And we'll let Coach Williams start us off right here.
All right, Coach. So I think the first thing you got to talk about is the fit, okay? Now, that could be described in a few different ways, okay? You have a schematic fit. You have a coaching fit. Do I feel like this coach can help me, earn what I'm looking for, And I think, can this coach take me to the next level, whatever that means to you? Okay, do I have a chance to grow, basically? So I think fit is the biggest thing, So when I'm looking at PWOs, I'm very intentional about who, we allow to be on our team and around our guys. So I'll just give you an example, okay? We have some kids coming in. We want them to check out campus. We want a PWO. Those guys, and it's only because of the log jam that we have, and we don't have money at certain positions where we can say, hey, this is a great opportunity for you. You fit what we do, and Coach hit it. You got to go through the process. You fit what we do. We feel like if you come here and do exactly what you're supposed to do, you'll give yourself a chance to earn the money. And I think that's important when you look at those things. You got to see it has to be a great fit on both sides, schematically for you, schematically for the coach. Coaching for you and being, motivated and inspired by the coach, and then having an opportunity to grow. I think that's where you find out if you're fit and why. But Coach Scott hit it on the head. You have to go through the process, and you have to like who likes you. Instead of waiting on Arkansas, whether it's Arkansas State or UCA or anything like that, you need to go through the process with the smaller schools because sometimes that's your best option. That's all I got on that, Coach.
Inspire, educate, motivate. All right, let's go. Coach Whitney.
Yeah, and I'm just agree with you right there because, like you said, it all comes down to that logjam, man, because a lot of these kids just wouldn't be PWO guys, 3 or 4 years ago. So at certain positions, you just don't have money, but it's just how it is. But when looking for guys, most schools, they still want the best of the best. So, in my opinion, the best guys it involves being like leaders in the classroom, leaders on the field, leaders in the community. You know, when you walk into the school, talk to the head coach, you're going to say, hey, this is the guy that you want on your football team, right? He's the leader. He's the vocal leader. He's always in class. You know, teachers love him. Those are the type of guys that you want to be on your team, on your roster. And most of these times, these kids have great film. They got great film, but they just don't get the traction they deserve. But these guys, man, I can tell you, like PWO guys, even on our roster, like some of the hardest working players in the weight room. Never have to worry about the grades, never have to worry about them in the classroom. And even like just this year, we had a PWO started 4 to 5 games for us. He got freshman all-team SoCon. You know what I mean? Like we had 2 guys that just one of the PWO guys, he had led the team in sacks. You know what I mean? So they have major value to the program in all areas, whether that be special teams, offense, defense. You know, they may not have the attributes on paper that you see, but they have the determination, will, and savviness that can take them far as they want to go. You know. So I just feel that if you got the chance and you can afford to walk on, just relish in that opportunity because it's truly an amazing experience. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Coach Whitney. I'll go ahead and hop in on the question and answer next. I think both of you guys had really great answers, especially Coach Williams. I think he hit it on the head with the fit part. I'm probably a little more cookie cutter, get straight to it. I think first and foremost, you just got to understand what the program's needs are. Do you need a walk-on or prefer walk-on in that position group or in that room, depending on what skill group or what big group that you coach? Is there a need for a walk-on in that room, or do you already have quality depth? So that's more so a staff thing to discuss and determine the number of walk-ons or preferred walk-ons you want to take and how many you can give to each position group. Second, I think the biggest thing is character, more so than anything. I know with me and Coach Scott, we do the back end here at Central Arkansas. Character is a big thing to us, and just knowing with the guys, with the counselors, where the principals, where the coaches in your building where you came from, whether it be a high school or if you're walking on from another university because it didn't work out, you have to move on, find better things for your own situation. What are they saying in the rooms that you came from? Are they speaking highly of you? Or are they, hesitant, don't really want to back you becoming a member of our program? Because if so, then that draws red flags for us. And we're probably we're not going to go through with that because we won't take a guy with character issues, especially as a preferred walk-on. And then third, for us, walk-ons in our room have to have some type of outstanding grades. Like, as a coach, you already have enough going on, keeping your group accountable, making sure they're going to class, getting their grades, and not hurting the team's GPA or that position group GPA. So you don't want to bring in another guy that's not even on, scholarship, that's struggling in the classroom or not going to be able to do anything to help you out academic-wise in your room. That's just another person that you have to account for and be worried about their grades and having issues. You don't really want that problem on your hands. And then just fourth, I think the overall theme is, do you add value to the program, whether that be academically, in the community, like Coach Whitney said, or on special teams, either running down on kickoff? What value do you add to the program? Whatever that may be, you have to excel and be very proficient in that area. I think those are the main things that schools look for when they're looking for PWO. Thank you.
Inspire, educate, motivate. Appreciate that, Coach Cree. Great job. I would take us home with this one. PWO opportunities are just as competitive as scholarship opportunities. It's not a given that you're going to automatically get a PWO. That's not how it works. And I like what everybody talked about, from grades to character. I would stay along some of those same lines. Good grades and having high character is key, because the last thing you want to be is a problem off the field and not be as good in the classroom. That's the fastest way to get that opportunity taken away from you, just being frank and just being honest. Next, they want to know if you can play and how close are you to a scholarship player, meaning how talented you are to somebody that's already on that roster. They want to know, man, is he a year away or is he 2 years away? Because if they got 2 recruits and the staff feel like one kid is 2 years away from developing to a scholarship player, but you got one kid that's maybe a year away, a semester away from developing, they're probably going to take that kid that's going to develop the fastest. So, and I think someone hit on this. I think it was Coach Williams talked about there's some talented players that is being passed up on, right? They're being passed up on, but they can play, or maybe it was Coach Whitney, but those kids can play, and those coaches are projecting that they can play within a semester or a year or maybe even 2 years. The next thing I think is critical, and I think it's not talked about enough in college recruiting, and especially when it comes down to PWOs, is are you a local talent? That means that you play at a local high school, that the university's located in the same city or state, or are you an in-state talent? I think that matters, because when supporters of the program look up and they see the national signing list, and they look up and they see 10 in-state guys, 5 of them probably scholarship and 5 maybe PWOs. So that looks better for that program, and it does look better for the state that those kids sign scholarships. So that concludes topic number 3, man. I think a lot of people are getting inspired. I think a lot of people are getting educated and motivated about the recruiting process. I know there's parents and recruits and high school coaches on right now that are listening, that this is making an impact. So we'll move right on into topic number 4, man. We're almost home. Topic number 4, how hard is it to get a PWO? Explain the type of adversity a PWO may encounter.
Yeah, so just when thinking about it, I think the hardest thing is just solidifying your spot, and in the 105, or I think right now it might be 110. And what that means is, you're a part of the training, or you're a part of the 2-a-day process that goes on before the season. I think that's one of the hardest things, to make sure that you're in that number, because that means that, probably you're valuable to the organization. And the second thing is, you're going to be there for training camp and probably the season. I think that's the hardest thing. Just jotting down some notes. One thing is you got to have insurance. Make sure you have some type of proper insurance, whether it be, Blue Cross Blue Shield or Kaiser or something of that. You got to have insurance usually of some sort. I think that one of the hard things too is, and you should know this, you should give your guidance counselor a nod to make sure your core GPA is over a 2.3, so you can play right away. You can still get into school, maybe sometime with a lower GPA, but then you become just an academic redshirt, or you can't play for a whole year. So just make sure you have your core GPA, and so you're an NCAA qualifier. I think that's big. Register with the NCAA clearinghouse. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to your guidance counselor or school and make sure you are registered with the clearinghouse. And then, the guidance counselor got to send all your transcripts, all that stuff, all your test scores, all the stuff like that to the NCAA clearinghouse. And I think another thing is, too, you got to be up to date on your shots, immunizations. So you got to be up to date. And that's just to go to college, period. But just something that the guys have to do. And then I think one of the big things is FAFSA. Being a PWO, not having school paid for, FAFSA is big, because that's how you get free money. And parents fill that out, before school, so you can get some money to pay toward books or pay toward tuition or what have you. And so I think those are things that you got to kind of encounter along the way. Might be adversity, might not, but just here to educate.
Thank you right there, Coach Lovers, man. Inspire, educate, motivate. Let's go, Coach Taylor.
Yeah, so, in this topic, how hard does he get a PWO? Usually coaches look for kids who are also from lower divisions. So I know Coach Scott, and I know the guys that are at the FCS level, you guys feel this. We'll get kids, that we offer. We think they can come be all conference guys for us. And then UVA, Virginia Tech, the bigger schools, they come in and they offer those guys PWOs. And, of course, that's their dream school growing up. Kids living in Virginia, they want to go to those schools. So they're really going to look into those opportunities. So, to piggyback on what Coach Scott said, it's a competition. They're not just offering PWOs, and us either. We're not just offering PWOs to guys, who sit on the end of the bench. We want guys that we can come in to develop into a scholarship guy. And, with this portal and everything, like I said, those come few and far between, but you still want guys that can help your program. And secondly, some PWOs come from word of mouth. Again, like Coach Scott said, man, coaches will offer kids at schools they recruit often. So, I know here in Virginia, we have about 5 or 6 schools that are always going deep in the playoffs, always going, the championships and things like that. And they'll have lower offers, lower level offers, and we'll offer those guys PWOs because we feel like, number one, we want to keep that relationship with the school, but secondly, they can come in and help us in some kind of way and possibly develop into scholarship guys. And just some of the adversity that that PWOs have, it's just like the NFL. Colleges are going to play who they pay, and and just like the NFL, they're going to pay who they play. And until you're a money guy, you'll always be looked at as a walk-on, in my opinion, until you do something to stand out for a coach to say, hey, we have to put that guy on money. And, it's been an opportunity for us. I mean, it's been opportunities here at Norfolk State where, we've seen guys, and there's about 5 of them where like, yeah, they're walk-ons, and, they're as good as we thought they were. So we're going to put them on money. So, just like I stated, the portal is becoming harder and harder for a PWO to earn money. And, if you can't go somewhere and earn money as a PWO, that's kudos to you. So basically, like I said, it's a competition. Every time you step foot on the field as a PWO, most of those guys have chips on their shoulders. And once you get on that campus, as a PWO, you have to have a different mentality than most guys because, you're paying out of pocket and they're getting their Pell money and going to spend it at the mall. So you have to have a different mentality.
Great job right there, Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor right there. If you're on, you're getting good information, like, comment, retweet. If you're a college coach, you're interested in being featured on KS Recruiting Talk, shoot me a DM. Let's link up. Let's go, Coach Borkin. Coach Borkin, you got to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Are we still on topic 4?
Yep.
I think that's Coach Whitney, Coach.
Yeah, let me take this away. I can take this real quick. Yeah, so just piggybacking off what Coach Lovin said, if you still listen right now, you could potentially have PWOs on the table or anything like that. Make sure you do faster, man, because I'm telling you, Pell Grant money is a blessing. You can get a lot from Pell Grant, man. But just kind of just give you some adversities that you can kind of face is, the fact is most teams have limited roster spaces. So you getting a PWO is a blessing. It's truly something that you shouldn't just take lightly. But one thing I would tell you to get that walk-on spot or to get that PWO, continue updating your highlights. Every 3 games, every 2 games, whatever, update your highlights to the best of your ability just so you got that out there. And then also be outspoken, use your social media tools because social media is a big thing. It's kind of taking recruiting by the storm. So doing those 2 things I think will really help you. But like I said, if you don't get nothing from this, be sure to check your FAFSA, give your guy the counsel to get that knocked out. That's all I got, Coach.
All right, perfect. That concludes topic number 4 right there. Man, we're almost home. We're on the back end of this. This is probably my favorite topic right here. I think this is going to help a lot of recruits, especially 2023 recruits. So let's jump into topic number 5. Advice/encouragement for 2023 recruits with no options on the table. And I'll start us out right here. I would say this. The second signing period is not the end for 2023 recruits. What do I mean? I think most recruits need to hear this. Just because that's the last signing period doesn't mean that you cannot sign after the second signing period. There will be scholarship opportunities after the second signing period. And I think this is no different than the first signing period. Leading up to the first signing period, recruits try to wait around, and try to see what bigger offer they're going to get. If you can sign in the second signing period, sign. Because you got so many options now. If you want to play at a bigger level, go put it on tape at a smaller school. Coach Lovins talked about it earlier, the farm system. I mean, you got so many options. Double and triple check with coaches to make sure their signing class is not full. You should be tearing up coaches' DMs because the worst thing you can do is assume. I mean, you can hit a coach up and say, well, he won't reply, or they're a fool. Well, maybe somebody dropped off and maybe you can get that scholarship, but if you're not texting, calling, and DMing coaches, you don't have a shot. My next thing is, I think Coach Whitney hit on this just a little bit. If you have a high GPA, ACT or SAT, ask the colleges that's recruiting you to see if you will qualify for any academic money. I think this is huge for PWOs. If you can see if they have any type of academic money there that can help support you, you will be surprised, and you'll be surprised at the academic packages that some of these universities have that are equal or better to an athletic scholarship. So that's my advice and that's my encouragement for any 2023 recruit that has no options on the table right now. Man, create those options, man. Ask those questions, man. Get detailed in what you're trying to get accomplished. So I next pass this over to Coach Creek.
Thank you, Coach. My best advice for a 2023 recruit that has nothing on the table or still just in scramble mode looking for that next opportunity, my best advice is honestly just to not be discouraged. Remain consistent in your efforts to try and find a home. Like Coach Scott said, continue to double and triple check with these schools and these position coaches and just see what they have available. Something could have shook out, or there may be some academic scholarship money out there where you can make it work and go to that university and things can pan out for you. So I just would say not to be discouraged. And then just be smart with your time. Be realistic. If you've tried to interact with a coach or a school and they've kind of fell off you, don't continue to try and force the interaction. Be smart with your time. Use that toward a program that's interested in you and you can actually see being a potential home, because you want to go where you celebrate and not tolerate it. So just use your time wisely. Thank you.
Big facts. All right, next.
Yeah, continue to be persistent, just like everybody's saying. You know, we only got one life to live. Let's go get it. And, you know, I would think right now is, I know, you know, a lot of guys are doing homework and all that good stuff. Well, it's time to do homework on these universities. You know, I kind of liken it to this. I mean, if I'm an NFL agent right now and my prospect and my guy doesn't get drafted as an agent, I'm going to search all these rosters to see where, you know, my player, where a good fit is. So, for example, you know, if Green Bay Packers don't only have 3 running backs, you know, and the roster's filled out with 5, well, I want my free agent to go there. And that's the same thing as a PWO. And do your research on these numbers right now, because not everybody's numbers are the same. And so, you know, if I'm a PWO or I'm trying to get a scholarship, it works the same way. If you can somehow find out what the numbers are, whether that be calling up a coach or they go visit a university, or, you know, whether, you know, it's good old roster research, man, I would be intrigued to know, you know, around me or place I'm interested in, you know, what those numbers look like. And the last thing I want to say is this. You know, junior college, you're really betting on yourself. But right now in the state of Mississippi, I know junior college right now, they're taking 15 out-of-state kids. And so whether that be the second signing period or it prolongs itself, there's opportunities out there, whether it be California, Arizona, Texas. There's definitely opportunity out there if you want to play football. You know, I definitely think there's opportunities out there.
Inspire, educate, motivate. Let's go with Coach Borky.
Yeah, I think those are 3 really good answers so far. You know, the big thing is, and I think this is where I got caught up as from taking a PWO offer somewhere is, you know, the big thing is don't make the decision for the wrong reason if that's what you do. I mean, don't allow, you know, a lot of times we allow labels and logos to kind of, you know, dictate, you know, our own worth, and that can't be why you make the decision. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're D1, D2, D3, or whether you're a preferred walk-on or you're a scholarship guy. Don't allow that to affect your work ethic and how you approach, your daily life. The truth of the matter is, whether you're a walk-on scholarship or whatever, when you enter college football, your life's about to get a lot tougher. I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and walk-on or not, you've got to approach it as you're just trying to do your best that day and give your best effort. And that's the only thing you do, take it a day at a time. Like Coach Scott said, I mean, the signing day is not the end of the recruiting process. I mean, there's still schools out there that signing day really doesn't affect them as much as it does, that first tier of schools. JUCOs are still looking, Division III, they're still looking, NAIA, they're still looking. And what I think Coach Cree said, find out where you can get academic aid. If you're going to take a PWO, don't put yourself out there in a place where you're going to have to spend, private school where you're going to spend $40,000 a year to do it. And then know where there's a need. If you're a fullback, don't go walk onto a team that is running the air raid. It's not going to work out. And just be willing to work hard and be patient. And I say this from a PWO perspective because that's the topic, but any college football player, when you get there and you're working hard, seek out any opportunity you can to have any role on the team. I mean, whether that's special team, scout team, helping clean up after practice, being a spotter in the weight room, whatever it is, accept that role and welcome that role. And then people take notice of that. People, it feels like they don't notice, but people notice when you're willing to do whatever it takes just to have, any opportunity to better the team. And if you'll do that, then everything will work out for you either way. You're going to get what you want out of it.
Thank you, Coach Boykin. Like I say, if you're listening to tonight, this will be uploaded on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify within the next 24 hours. If you're getting good information, like, comment, retweet, let people know that you've been inspired, educated, and motivated about the recruiting process. Coach Williams?
Yes, Coach. Everybody hit on it. Persistence. Keep your dream alive. Okay. You guys touched on something that I wanted to kind of jump on a little bit. Just new tactics in earning your money. Okay. So here at A&M Commerce, we have a deal called the Honors College. Okay. The Honors College is either 100%. It pays for your school, or 50%. Both of those options are great, especially like the coaches mentioned. If you can tack on, let's say a kid get 50% on the Honors College, he's possibly a Pell Grant kid. For us, that's a full scholarship. Okay, so it forced me to write down this deal. Okay, it doesn't matter where the money comes from. Coach Gunner just hit it. You don't want to be in debt, and I think that's something that we mentioned off the top. Coach Scott mentioned that first. It doesn't matter where the money comes from. You don't want to be in that kind of debt because that can follow you for the rest of your life. You want to put yourself in a situation where things are paid for. Even if it's not everything, you just want to give yourself that opportunity. So we have about 5 kids on our team that doesn't count against our scholarship count, but they're scholarship players. And the Honors College allowed, them to come in and take care of, their school bill. Those guys maintain the excellent grades that they've been doing, since they were small. Gain those guys, those are essentially gained scholarships, added scholarships that doesn't count against the football allotment money, and you still get the same production on the field. Some of those guys start in key positions for us. So, yeah, Coach, I just wanted to leave that little nugget right there.
Okay, man, I appreciate that. Great job right there, you guys. That was topic number 5. That wraps up KS Recruiting Talks for tonight. You can expect a part 2 of this topic. I think there's some more things that we got to dive into with this PWO opportunity to try to help some parents, recruits, and high school coaches out. I thank you, guest panel, for all the great information tonight, man. You guys did a detailed job. You was on point. You transitioned in and out of one topic to the next. Truly appreciate it, man. You guys jumped right on with no problem. It means a lot to me. Thank you for your time. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to KS Recruiting Talks tonight. big time night, man. So many people tuned in. We had audience from a number of different places, number of different walks of life. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart tuning in. Again, if you're on and you got really good information, don't be afraid to like, comment, retweet. Let people know about KS Recruiting Talks. And remember, we're on 3 major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Tap in with us. If you're a guest coach and you're a college coach, and you want to be featured on KS Recruiting Talks, man, take this time to give me a DM. Let's talk. Let's rap. Man, you guys have a great night. I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Bear claws up.